Hello, it's 11 o'clock and we're due to start this interview today with Jamie Ashton from the Enfield Charities Networking Group. I'm Francis Seeley from Enfield Voices and GlobalNet 21. And this is one of the 30-minute interviews that we hope to do periodically, maybe even weekly if we can, with people in Enfield who are trying to make a difference. And as you can see, we've got Jamie here with us today, and I'm glad that you joined us and that you are here to be interviewed. So maybe if I could start, Jamie, by asking you, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your own charity work?
Okay, Francis. Well, myself and Harriet founded the Zebras Children and Adults Charity. Basically, we support children and adults in England and Wales, actually, with disabilities. We provide recreation, so we've got a recreation fund. We have meetups. We run a group for adults with disabilities. We also help to alleviate poverty, and we do that by working with the Fair Share Project, Enfield North Food Bank, and also we provide emotional support, advocacy and advice and information. We've been running the charity now for a year as a registered charity. Previous to that, we were a community interest company. Again, not for profit. It was the Zebras Children's Club, and again, we run the clubs through that. But we're now a registered charity, so hopefully that gives us more scope for the future.
Well, I know you do a lot of really good work that way, and we did a webinar with you on the Zebra charity some time ago, which was really good. And, you know, it was quite clear that there is a lot of work involved in that. How difficult is it for a small charity like you to work without the support of other people?
Well, I don't actually believe it would be possible without the support of others around you. Certainly, local businesses, we've had tremendous support from. I actually work for a company called Metaswitch in Enfield, and they've provided support really for us from day one. There's also a host of other businesses out there that have supported us throughout, from the time as being a CIC right through to being a charity, with helping us with events and everything else. So I think you need the support, definitely. Otherwise, I don't think it'd be possible.
So getting that support and wanting that support, was that one of the main reasons that led you to set up the networking support group for charities in Enfield?
Yes. Just before Christmas, we did a webinar just before Christmas, and we discussed Christmas collection that we run in partnership with Edmonton Salvation Army. And that was sort of planted the seed in my head. We worked together on a project. We were able to deliver to 70 families food parcels and toys over Christmas period. And just seeing the nature of our work, there's so many people that need support. So working together just to me makes so much sense. And I just hope other charities, or I've already witnessed a lot of charities now jumping on board with this. So hopefully, you know, we'll be able to support more and work together.
So doing that webinar with us helped you to put that seed, that idea into your mind?
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, running the project as well. I mean, just seeing how we were able to help so many people, you know, we could put our resources together, our time, you know, our volunteers together. And it just made it, otherwise it would be working on your own, and it's a lot more hard work. Whereas if you put together, you can get the job done and help more people, which is the ultimate aim. Okay,
so you've set up this network. Tell us, what is it? What is the Enfield Charities Network?
Yeah. So basically, it's a Facebook page at the moment, and a Facebook group, a closed Facebook group for members of charities, not-for-profits. There is businesses on there as well that are a big support as well, I must say. So the idea is, we've got a page, we all come together, we share our events, our upcoming events, our activities, any fundraisers. So the idea, hopefully, we won't clash as well. That's the other thing, you know, so we don't have a clash of dates and things like that. Eventually, that's sort of where I'd like to take it. But also raise our voice, perhaps in a political framework. I'd like MPs to be on this page and local councillors to get involved as well. So if we do need to arrange a meeting together, which is perhaps my next step, we can raise our voices as a collective rather than individually.
Okay, so maybe we could talk about some of those things, but I mean, was it working over Christmas that gave you the idea? And if it was, how did you then set about getting other people involved? It's easy to set up a Facebook page or a Facebook group, but then getting people on board is a much more, you know, daunting step. So how did you go about doing that?
Well, actually, yeah, that is one of the hardest things. Setting up the group was the easy part. The hardest part is actually finding people to be involved and actually want to be involved with the group. Got a lot of friends on Facebook anyway. I've got a lot of friends that are in charities on Facebook. I was able to just invite them into the group, and it seems the message is slowly getting out there. We've got around 230 members. It's not a lot, but we're growing slowly, and people are beginning to catch on as to what the idea of the group is, I think. And I think this webinar will actually help that as well.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously don't need huge numbers of people. You actually want people, don't you, who work in charities and working groups and are doing good things. What sort of people have you got on? What sort of charities, and what do they do?
We've got a whole host of different charities, and we've got. I mean, can I mention the names of charities?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, we've got. So we've got ourselves, Zebras Charity. We've got Edmonton Salvation Army. I have Bushel Park Wildlife Association that we are now working with ourselves. Enfield Charitable Trust are involved in the group. PARS have just joined the group yesterday. So we've got quite a few groups that are involved. The Felix Project Post in the group, Give a Dog a Bone, which is a not-for-profit. So we've got quite a few charities and not-for-profits joining. We've also got businesses, which I think is good as well, because they can support charities and good causes.
I mean, did those businesses come on because they found out about you, or have you solicited them on? And are they charities, are they businesses that really do want to help charities and therefore want to link in with you?
Well, yes, there is a couple of businesses that I invited to join the group that have already supported us already by putting us in a magazine. A lady called Jodie Perkins, and she runs a group each month, I think it is, and she's got a business magazine that she's put us in, and she's actually offering other charities to be involved with this magazine as well that will hit 10,000 doorsteps. So it's a great way of helping small not-for-profits and charities to get their word out there.
So you're working with businesses to help you disseminate, to get the information out about what you're doing.
Yes, and advice as well. I mean, we can take great advice from local entrepreneurs that may be able to give us some advice and support and ideas, because this is the thing. It's the ideas that need to drive the charities forward. Fresh ideas as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned all the charities, the Felix Project, Salvation Army, the Wildlife Charity, and so on, that you've got involved with you. Have you had a response from them in terms of developing joint projects or working together in any way? Have you got some example? I mean, it's unfair to ask you this because you're fairly new and everything's developing, but have you sort of begun to work together, and in what way?
Well, actually, I'm glad you asked me that, Francis, because we have already seen some developments, which is fantastic. So we've got ourselves, speaking personally, from the Zebras point of view, we are now working with the Bushel Park Wildlife Association. Carol Stanley, she may be watching this webinar, I'm not sure if she is or not, is one of the chair of the association. And what we're doing is Zebras is running the children's group. We're doing meetups now rather than actually running sessions, which is a different way of doing things. And we are going to be using their wildlife garden. They've got a great wildlife garden at Bushel Park. And this will be a great way for us to work together. We're looking at setting up a homeschooling group, and they've got a hut that we can use for that. So that's already working together. Harriet will, in the near future, work with PARS, I believe, as well. They've sent some referrals to Harriet. Harriet is a qualified counsellor and a life coach. So they're going to be sending some referrals our way for that, because we'll be offering emotional support at our ZAG group in the near future.
So I mean, I'm glad you're working with Carol, because she's, you know, contributed quite a lot on Enfield Voices, and I know she does a lot of good work. So that's really interesting. It's quite interesting. You're going to set up some sort of buildings for homeschooling. Have you had any links with the homeschooling groups that exist in Enfield, and are they on your group?
Not on our group. Now, Harriet has had some conversations with some others, but we do know some other families that do homeschool as well, and we've had a little bit of interest there. I mean, it won't be a big group. It'll probably start small and sort of work its way from there. But again, these are all the links we've got to make. You know, it seems to be that we're getting a few more people each week join the group, which is great. And it's getting the word out there about what the group is about. That's the hardest thing. And I do share different things constantly in there as well.
Have you had any support from the council or from councillors for the work that you're doing?
Not at the moment. Not at the present moment, no. I would like to think that other councillors will be able to jump on board with this as well. I'd like the future to look at maybe a regular meet-up with the charities and not-for-profits, and anyone involved with the charities as well. It doesn't have to be a leading person, volunteers even, you know, that can come along and perhaps attend maybe a monthly meeting, or, you know, a quarterly meeting, and we can discuss any issues there, any hurdles that we're facing, and also collectively get our point across to our local politicians and hopefully our national politicians as well.
Have you had any support yet from any particular individual councillors?
Actually, I must say, a friend of Rick Jewell, and he has actually private messaged me some ideas, different ways, different funding streams, basically, you know, even sort of things like Amazon Smile, and he messaged me that the other day. So it is good to, but not a great deal at the moment, I must admit, not a great deal. That's the next area to kind of tap, to get the local councillors, the MPs, to understand what this little group's for.
And have you sort of created links with groups like the Community House, the Voluntary Groups Association, and
Yes.
Community House in Edmonton? Okay, tell us about that.
So Community House, they're actually in the group, and so is sorry, I forgot to mention those, and there is another couple of groups that are in there as well. One to One Enfield, they're involved with the group. So again, it's getting there. They get to share their message as well with the rest of us. But there are other charities that I'm looking for to join the group. You know, I don't think Nightingale have yet joined, and you know, and they're a huge charity in the local area. So it'd be great if they joined the group and share their stories with us as well.
I mean, it's quite interesting how you start groups and how you get people together. And I'm sure there are people who are watching this who want to start their own sort of groups. I don't mean charities, but something else. How do you go about finding the people you want? How do you do the research? Where do you find your charities and people you think will be interested in joining with you?
Well, as I said, I've had quite a few friends. We've got a few supporters of Zebras, and there's quite a few charity people we know, and we've had support in the past as well. So what I tend to do as well is go onto their pages, onto the charities pages, and find someone that shared the link, and I might share that in my group, and then they perhaps see that it's been shared in another group, and then make the link that way. I also share the actual group on my Facebook page as well, quite frequently, and yeah, just sort of look on different charities pages and look to anyone in the charitable sector, or even businesses as well, local businesses, that they might know other charity bosses and volunteers that might want to join the group.
So you do quite a lot of research, you do a lot of Googling, you look for Facebook pages. Then what do? Do you contact the people, and what do you say to them? How do you get them involved?
Yeah, quite a tricky one. sometimes I'll share the post, and other times I'll add them as a friend personally, and hopefully they see on my profile that I'm a charity boss as well. And from there, I'll then add them into the group. If they wish to, they can always come out of the group if they don't want to be involved. But I'll then, just add them into the group.
I like the term charity boss. That's quite nice. You're a charity boss.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's
not.
No, I like it. But have you had any negative response, or is everyone very enthusiastic about what you're doing?
Yeah, everyone's been on board with it. I must admit, so far. But you will get hurdles. I'm sure people will, why have I been added to this group and all that kind of thing. And I don't just add anyone as well. That's the other. I don't just add anyone. And I'm actually getting a lot of people coming forward. Like yesterday, I had someone from PARS came forward, which was brilliant, and then started sharing their stuff in the group. So and also straight away from that, I've made a link with us. So it's really positive, really, to be honest.
And using
so far
using a social network like this, have you had any troublemakers at all? Because you always get them on site. You get people who can cause you a headache now and then, or have you been lucky so far?
Lucky so far. Yeah, I've had my fingers crossed, actually, the whole time. I don't, but I envisage that I will get some trouble at some point, and again, it's just not rising to it and trying to level it all out, and, that don't want to cause controversy or anything like that.
So have you also linked with other social networks? I mean, you're here now doing this with us and Enfield Voices, but we're cooperating with Enfield Matters and with Love Your Doorstep, and they're streaming this as well, I hope. Have you worked with them as well, because they have a reach as well as us?
Not as of yet, no. I do know some people that are involved with the groups. And again, it's only been set up since May, so we're really new at the moment. Haven't tapped into half the things I'd like to tap into to get the message across. So that's my next step, is perhaps speaking to other organisations. That's the way forward, perhaps.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I like your idea of having sort of regular meetups quarterly or whatever they are, when you also invite counsellors and so on, and you bring people together. You become almost a community civil society forum that way, which is very, very, very good thing to do. Okay, so when I looked at your about section, and you said some of this already, you told us that you're about supporting each other. So that's one of your main aims, yeah?
Yes, yeah, that is the main function of the group, really, to provide support for each other. I mean, again, I keep mentioning Carol. She shared a SWOT analysis the other day that they'd done for their own project. So it's another way of supporting, giving ideas. It made me think, I haven't done a SWOT analysis for a long time. I'll have to sit down and do one. And obviously, I think people know what SWOT analysis is: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And it's a good way to provide advice and support for each other. And that is the main function of the group, and to share each other's events as well.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. To exchange information, you do support, but people would appreciate having a forum where they can tell people about what they're doing, and you welcome doing that, do you?
Yes, yeah, I do. Yeah, definitely. That's the important thing. In fact, the Enfield Charitable Trust shared a post the other day. A lady from the Enfield Charitable Trust shared a post on in the group. And I learned something about the trust, that they actually provide different grants. I thought they just for commercial grants, but they do also for education and grants for personal grants as well. So people living in poverty can apply for, if they need a new dishwasher or a new tumble dryer or anything, And these are things I didn't know before until she shared the post, and and from there onwards, I can then share the information to others, because they want to be able to help more people in the area than they currently are able to help.
Yeah, I mean, that sharing of information is pretty vital, and I think social networks are very good at that, and you're obviously doing that really well. I think people on social networks get a lot of information that goes on behind closed doors that they don't know about, and bringing it out and showing people is very, very valuable. Right. You mentioned the exchange of information there about finding funding. I mean, is that one of your aims, to help each other in terms of fundraising?
Yeah, you know, different charities apply for different grants from different, you know, different, say, companies, or, you know, the lottery funding, and it's always good to find out how they had, you know, what they had to put to get, you know, to get the funding, because it really is hard nowadays to be rewarded or awarded with the funding. And yeah, it's a great way to learn from others, and I think, you know, supporting each other in that way, you know, it can really help smaller charities that are at the beginning phase, such as us. We're right at the beginning. We're only a year into the charity work. First year's just been and gone, and yeah, we're learning all the time. As with this group, we're learning all the time.
And are you looking for funding for the network itself and not just for your individual charity? Would you think that would help?
Mainly funding for the charity. The network itself, perhaps not so much funding. But that's another idea. I haven't even considered it, to be honest. But, you know, I was thinking more of meeting up and, you know, arranging regular meetings. But it might be something to consider in the future. Maybe we can support others, you know, other small groups that way. But
okay, and have you looked at the wider London picture and maybe linking up groups there? I noticed that one of your objectives is to give third sector information. So do you sort of look at what's happening in the third sector and pass that on? There are groups like the Community Coalition, the Community Group Coalition, for example, network, and others in London that work together. Have you looked at a London sort of network as well, or are you know, you're only just started and you have to concentrate on the local area?
to be honest, yeah, we are new. It's been since sort of mid-May that this group's been set up. So we're sort of 8-9 weeks into the group. Haven't really explored much further afield than our local borough, to be honest. But I do need to, you know, we do need to look at what other groups out there that can support us in some way. So that's, you know, these are all, and again, I'm not precious about the group. I'd like people to join and help take ownership of it. That's the idea. You know, I set it up with Harriet, help from Harriet and my son, Brian. And I'd just like to take it forward, but it doesn't necessarily mean I take it forward. It could be together we take the group forward. That's the idea. That's what I'm not precious about the group.
So like all of us, you're looking for good and effective and task-orientated administrators that will help you do the job that you want to do.
Yeah, definitely. You know, as a collective, again, it's supporting each other. It's driving the group forward. And that, I personally think, you're working together, you're going to achieve your goals.
Okay, and one of your goals, the last one you mentioned, is that you want to affect political change. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think we all look at my Facebook profile, we can see where my political compass lies. And also, but what our charity personally, what our charity does to support people, we're at the forefront of what, maybe, if you like, of the difficulties people face. And it doesn't matter which political party is in power in the local area or the national government. If there's something we disagree on, I personally think we need to get our voices heard together. And charities with similar objectives, perhaps, you know, someone that maybe another charity that deals with poverty, or another charity that deals with homelessness. We've got Todos Together UK on board with the network as well. They share their posts in there quite frequently, you know. And if we feel that there's something that needs to be raised, a point that needs to be raised locally or even nationally, we need to get our voices heard with our local MP.
So you look upon your network as a sort of advocacy organisation on behalf of all the people that work with you, which means putting pressure on politicians and councillors.
Yeah, almost like a pressure group, if you like. Yeah, why not? You know, that's. I think when you sort of in a charitable position, as I mean, it's all voluntary. I'm a chair of the charity, and I feel but I should be raising my voice a little bit for our beneficiaries on our behalf of people that may not get their voices heard. And that's my main aim. I'd like to be able to raise our voice together. So I think together we've got power. On our own, I don't think we'll get listened to.
Okay, Joey Cowley, by the way, Joey Cowley Smith from Enfield Charities has just said it's great listening to this and good luck with your charity. So,
Hi, Joe. Thank you. Thank you.
And yeah, so you know, in 2-3 years' time, how do you see yourself? What's your vision for the future? What would you like to build towards?
That's a good question. I'd like to have hopefully made some differences in a few years' time. I'd certainly like a regular meet-up. I think that would be a good start. With you know, we can find a location to meet. It would be great. You know, if anyone's got any free locations out there that might want to support a little networking group that would like to meet on a monthly basis, perhaps, or a quarterly basis to start, and then we can discuss things there. You know, face to face rather than on social network. I mean, it's social network's great, but it'd be brilliant to meet face to face and, you know, discuss things together. From there, I'd like to perhaps affect political change. I think that would be a good way of putting it.
Okay, that is an ambition. If you can do that,
it is an ambition.
If you
an
can
ongoing ambition.
Yeah, if you can do that, you tell us how you succeed, because we can learn from that. but you know, so people are watching
together.
All right, together, solidarity and all that. Yeah, but okay, so there are people watching. They're really interested, like Joy, in what you're doing. If they want to get involved, how can they get involved? In what way can they get involved? What can they do? So can you give us? Can you give them some advice on that?
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, join the group, share the group for us. That'd be fantastic. Get involved with the group. I want people involved. Like I say, I'm not precious about the group. It started, and we'll drive it forward. That's my ambition. I'd like to get people on board with experience as well with this kind of group. Push it forward that way. You know, I don't know everything. I need resources around me. I'm learning. You know, we're learning as a charity. We're learning as a network. That's and we'll learn together, and we'll push things forward that way, I feel.
So, do you enjoy what you do?
This I love. This help. I actually, you know, I feel that's part of me. I feel like I want to, with a charity, I really want to help as many people as we can. I understand the difficulties people face. You probably know my own situation. I've got a son who has autism and learning disabilities, and I only work part-time now as a result of that. And, you know, we're fighting for different things in our personal life as well. And I understand the difficulties people face. And I feel like myself and Harriet are in a good position to be able to raise the voice of others, if you like, as well now, and having an understanding of the difficulties out there. You know, we want change. We do want change. We want things to change for the better for people, really. And
yeah, and it's great, isn't it, to have a purpose in life? Yeah,
this I feel is my purpose. If I'm honest, Francis, and I think people know that as well. Well, our purpose, mine and Harriet's purpose.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's great. Well, we sort of come to the end of the 30 minutes, which went very, very quickly. So, you know, thank you for doing that. And just to finally give us the full name of your network. So if people want to look you up on Facebook, they can. So just tell us what it is.
Right. It's Enfield Charities Networking Group, and it's a closed group on Facebook. Please, you know, please join us. We want people to join us, support us, get involved. That's the idea, and we're involved with our charity as well. We want people involved. We want some support and get the message out there to the rest of Enfield and surrounding areas as well.
Okay, right.
Thank you, Francis.
Okay, well, thank you. I mean, that was great, and you were our first example of an interview, and I hope we'll do many more. Next week, we're going to do one with Claire Rogers from the Better Streets Network, and the work she's done and the work her group has done. So I hope you join us for that one as well. And also, just for people listening, if you know of anyone, any group you think that would get benefit from having an interview like this, because what we do is we stream it on Facebook, but afterwards I'll edit it into a YouTube video. So any group will then have a video of their webinar, if you like, of their interview that they can send out to other people. So if you know of anyone who you think would be interested or you think is interesting and that should be interviewed, let me know and we'll try and arrange that. So thank you all for joining us. And
thank you, Francis, for arranging these interviews as well. They're fantastic. They really are. Thank you so much. Really appreciate what you've done today.
Okay, well, you're welcome. I think it's a great thing to do. So thanks. Anyhow, we'll end this interview.
And you know where we are, Francis. Please get involved as well.
Yeah, I can see you're so enthusiastic. I can't stop the webinar. It's great. Okay, we better finish because it's a half an hour. Anyhow, thank you, everyone, and we'll finish this interview now.